Hello there, Surfroom17 once again. This is my Arkham Knight GCPD Lockdown DLC walkthrough. Because once again there is no modifying difficulty, we're going to go for no damage. You don't have to, guys. You can beat this and you'll get your achievement. There's no other specifications, but I think it makes it a little bit more interesting to watch, so that's what we're going to go for. So I'm using the Nightwing costume that I may have got because I have the Season Pass. I don't recommend buying the Season Pass. I was so into Batman when this game came out. I wanted all of it, all the time, right there in my mouth. And it turns out that so far it's been incredibly disappointing, and it's like one piece of content every month, and that's not how I work. I'm an all-or-nothing kind of guy. If I was a drug addict, I would be dead. But this is the first encounter. It has a thug, and it has a bunch of other dudes. The best thing to do here, I found, is to use the fear takedown at the beginning, and then either focus on the big guy immediately and get rid of him, or try and bounce around the room and get rid of his friends. The big guy attacks really quickly, and I was super rusty at this game when I came back, so I actually died in this room. And just to give you an example, all the other DLCs, Red Hood, Harley Quinn, Catwoman, never died on any of them. This one, the first fight, I died. So that's just how rusty I was when I started, playing this for the first time. Luckily enough, it soon comes back to you because it's not the most complicated system, but I do find it incredibly fun. The big problem I have with the game is the camera's too slow because it's 30 frames per second, and then my second problem with the game is it's 30 frames per second. Coming off of coming off of Metal Gear Solid 5 and coming back to a game like this, it runs like shit. Going back to Bloodborne, it runs like shit. Playing Tony Hawk's 5, it already runs like shit, and it runs like shit. Like, every single game I go to now after this feels like shit, and it's really sad because when you're used to it, when your eye interprets it correctly, and you've been playing a few hours, you do not see it so much, and you can tolerate it, and it's okay and it's fine. But if you're used to other things and you come to it, it feels like it's in half speed. It feels like it's slowed down. And it's really frustrating because I love this game. I think it's a beautiful game, but in 60 frames per second it will be so much better. And at this moment in time, the only way to get 60 is on PC, and this game doesn't even work on PC yet, which is just disgusting, but there you go. So, this is the Predator section after those two combat windows. This is perhaps the longest section of the game. So I take this dude out after jumping in this window, and we're going to divide and conquer all the way up to the last two enemies, and then the last two enemies I didn't have a pattern, I just improvised and it worked. All the guys before that is a pattern that works every time if you follow what I'm doing. So take out the medic, sprint over here, nobody will hear your footsteps because it's not that kind of game, and then crouch as you get to this guy because he might hear you. Take him out. Then after this we're going to be grappling up to the guy who you can just see there on the detective vision, and we're going to wait for his buddy to go past him. I have actually strangled this guy out before when I do it on this video, and the guy didn't see who was walking past, but I've also had times where he did. So the safest time is to let him pass and then do it, because what's the point in relying on the random variable? Also, I wanted to save the fear takedown for the heavy, but it turned out I never got the opportunity to do it, so I'm going to do the fear takedown on the next fight after this sequence, which is, believe it or not, the final part of this DLC. So there is a lovely fail on the old QuickTime. There's another choke, and we're going to be cruising up the stairs and just dividing and conquering. The thing to bear in mind on the Predator sequences on these games, if you can kill the enemies without them seeing any enemy down or without them seeing you, they will always be in their normal patrol patterns, and their normal patrol patterns can be learned and they can be capitalized upon, and you can win. If they see a body or if they see you, they go into an alerted state where they move around randomly. That is what you want to avoid if you can. That being said, you can still do it if you're good enough, but it's so much easier not to even give them the opportunity. Oh, this must be said too. The cover command on this game is atrocious. There are times when he doesn't go up against the cover correctly, there are times when he's halfway out of the cover and you get spotted, so be really careful when going in cover because it's super finicky. It is easily one of the ugliest parts of the controls on the game because everything else works pretty well. They've got to a point now where it's so refined, so finely tuned that most of it works great, but every so often there's just something dopey that comes along that really frustrates me as a player. But I learned something yesterday too. I decided to try out, the new skins for the Batmobile. And when I was doing one of the challenges, it said, if you drift, it gives you seconds back on your time. And I'm like, wow, that's a cool idea. So I was doing this new challenge that you get with the season pass, and I was doing the drifting, and I got the 3 stars, and I was like, yeah, that's pretty cool. And then when I went to do one of the ones I'd already 3-starred, when I drifted, it gave me time again. So I had this massive moment where I was thinking, has this always been how this works? So get this, folks. I 3-starred every single racing challenge in this game without ever drifting and getting time back to make it easier. And I don't know if that's something they've added with the patch or if that's just how the game worked. But how stupid is that? I never even considered that's how that worked, because I never used to drift. The only time I drifted on the game was when I was going for the achievement, because to turn corners, I used to transform into the tank, or I used to just take them at full clip, because I'm not a very big guy for racing games, so I don't really play smart. But just finding that out and thinking, God, I feel like such an idiot, was one of those hilarious moments that I'm hoping doesn't just happen to me. But now there's 2 enemies left. One of them is stood in front of the heavy, the other one is the heavy, and this is where I don't have a pattern. So I wanted to fear take down the guy next to the wall and then take down the heavy. But it just never gave me the prompt, so it ends up not going the way I wanted. And I'm going to use a gadget here to make a noise, hoping it would make them come to me so I could use the fear takedown, but that's just not how it works. The gadget I'm going to use, if you hold the left trigger and you press X, he'll slam the batons into the ground and it shatters things. So there it was, and then I get behind here hoping they'll come towards me, but they don't. They run upstairs. It's really strange. So he goes to the right and the heavy goes to the left, so I just go after this dude, and then I go and beat up the heavy. But I was pressing the wrong buttons to do things when I was recording this. The rust was real. It was really funny. And it's so funny, isn't it, that you can be so into a game and so just instinctually play it, and then when you don't play it for a while and you get that way with another game and you come back like some kind of cheating lover, it's so strange just how comfortable you felt and then how alien it feels now. I always find that fascinating. But here's the big guy, so start your combo on him. You can usually get like 50 plus hits if you time your evade at the last possible moment, but there's no score running on these DLC pieces, there's no incentive to play them again. It's really disappointing DLC, because I love playing as Nightwing. And all they have to do is swap out Batman in the campaign for any of the other characters and I'm a happy bunny. Because they have all those cool animations that's going to waste, and I want to play the campaign as them. I would cover the campaign again with every character, and nobody would watch it. Nobody would care. Everyone's like, Chris, why are you playing this game? No one likes the Batmobile. Like, I kind of do, even though I understand why people don't, but they just won't do it. It seems so easy to me. Like, there's people on PC that let you run around on free roam who've modded it so you can play as all the other dudes. Now all we need is the developers to let us do it in the campaign. Because Batman is boring, dude. He's so boring. He's done the same moves for so long. You're just like, yeah, elbow, spinny kick, you know, break his arm, break his leg. Come on, Bruce, try a little bit. Then you play as the other guys and it feels fresh. Because, let's face it, folks, the combat in this game is like a rhythm puzzle game. It truly is. It's not real combat. It's just timing and understanding. And sometimes it's decent reflexes, other times it's just, you know, spatial awareness, but you know, you're not going to be getting S ranks on Devil May Cry's or Master Ninja ranks on Ninja Gaiden if you come off of this game thinking you're a pro, because it's just not that kind of combat. Like, you probably have a better chance playing bloody Parappa the Rapper, but it's still really fun, I think. And I love this as well. Double tap A. Oh no, I didn't do it. You can do a front flip through the window. But here is the final fight. So once you hook up here, if you crouch down, you can do a fear takedown. You want to aim at the guys with the swords behind me. Get rid of the 2 guys with swords and this fight becomes really easy. There are 2 heavies who attack really fast, so I'm going to kill one of them environmentally. And then the other guy's just going to get beat up probably. The environmental kills are one-hit kills, so you want to use them on whoever you don't like. If you were to run the score on this, of course you don't want to drop your combo like I did just then. There were a couple of instances in here where my combo drops when it wasn't my fault. And I say a couple, there's one. You're going to see me do, after this, I do stun rods and it misses. So where is it? I think it's here. After this one. So I jump over him. It's now. Watch this. Oh no. Has it already happened? Maybe it already happened. There's a point when I press B to stun and he doesn't hit anybody. And I drop my combo, which is really annoying, so it must have already happened. Or maybe it was on a different run. Suffice to say, there are moments where the polish on the combat fails you, and it's a shame because I think when you're getting a nice free flow and a high combo, it's super great. But every so often you get those niggly moments. But there you go, folks. Was it worth it? And I'll say the same thing that I said on Twitter the other day. If these Arkham stories came in packs of 3 or 4, like 3 to 5 episodes that are this length, no one would have a problem. But because it's just one every other month, it stands out as being not a lot of content. And it doesn't mean the content's bad. It's just, you can beat this before the time taken needed to install/download it if you've got shit internet, which it's kind of bad. But thank you very much for watching. Look forward to Transformers Devastation, some Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 5, and a surprise project that I'm covering later on. So yeah, you take care now.